Hello and welcome to the next session of Madhubani painting, where we learn to make a complete painting together. To watch the same video in Hindi, check the link in the description box below, where you will find all the other links and information and also the material list. So without further ado, let's begin with the session. So we begin with a handmade paper. I'm using a very smooth one because we need to sketch on it. For sketching, I'm using a nib in nib holder, which is just like a calligraphy pen. I use always a tissue. I keep it handy for cleaning if I have extra ink in my nib or whatever. So I use a tissue always. For painting or for sketching, I have prepared black acrylic paint inside a bowl. I poured it inside the bowl and I mixed a little water in it to make a solution. Now this solution I'm going to use to sketch. I'm always going to dip my nib inside this black acrylic paint and I'm going to sketch it with that, using that. For measurement, I use my fingers. I don't use a scale, and that is what I would recommend because that is the right way to do it. Please don't use a scale, and always try to draw the lines freehand, or whatever drawing you are doing, try to do it freehand. That is the right way to do it. So we are going to always dip it in the acrylic paint and try to sketch the line. Now, if you are a beginner and you find this process a little difficult or tedious, what you can do is you can use a waterproof pen. So these are two options which you can use. You can begin always with a pen, and when you think that you are perfect, you are able to do it freehand with a pen, then maybe switch to this. That could be one recommendation from my side. But if you want to really do it authentically, this is the right way to do it. Now, as you saw already, what I did is I'm just trying to create a frame on all four sides before we begin to, make the borders. So similarly, like I did on the other side, I'm just trying to create those double lines on all four sides. So this is basically trying to create a frame on all four sides so that we can start making the design of the border. So after making the frame on all four sides, we are going to again use our finger to measure and make a mark and try to create the inner lines, because this is what we are going to use for our border. Now, as you see here, my lines are not perfect at all, but that's absolutely fine because this is folk art. Women used to do it on the walls. They had no tools. Actually, they used to use twigs, matchsticks to make the painting. So at least what we can do is we can use a technique, whatever is possible, as we can stay as authentic as much possible. So similarly, we will use our finger to measure further and create such tiny boxes using those double lines inside the frame. Now for the border design, what I have done is I have created another square inside, and what I did is joined on all the corners, the squares, using a line, and then try to shade it with those fine lines, which is a typical fine lines used for Madhubani painting. So this is a very easy border design, but it looks really beautiful when you do it. So Madhubani painting, they use most of the times a lot of geometric patterns to create the designs. If you observe the artworks of really old artists, you will see that they use a lot of geometric patterns. So this is how we created the border. I did it on all four sides. I'll show you quickly in the end also once more how we did it. So creating the squares again inside those squares that we made, joining the lines in the corner, and then filling it on the sides with those fine lines. So this is how we do it. So we just leave the empty space, that square that we created, because in the end we are going to fill it with colors. So this is how we create the borders. So let me quickly finish the border. And after you finish, and if you're using this nib and nib holder, of course you will be using acrylic paint to do the sketch. So what you will do is whenever you create something, let it dry first before you begin the next step, because if the paint is not dry, it gets a little smudged and it may look a little untidy. So always let it dry. Okay, so that's how we finally do the borders. So we are almost done with the borders, and then I'll let my borders to dry, and then I will try to begin with my painting. Now again, I always use my fingers to take the measurement. So I just left, little distance on the top and then trying to create the face. So if you remember the last session where we learned to make different types of faces, and in case you missed that session, what you can do is go in the description box. There is a link for the session, both in English and Hindi, and you can have a look at the session where we learn how to create faces in the easiest way possible. So this is again, we did the sharp nose, you remember from the last session, then the hair. I move on to the hair, just trying to create double lines here at the hair. Surrounding the hair. So you remember when we used the double lines and then we filled in the black color, so the hair was highlighted. So we also did a lot of different hairstyles. So we are going to use all that and trying to make a complete painting, as I said in the last time. So you remember these beads that we created. So I'm going to do the same for this painting. So then we go to the lips and try to join it. Either you can join it in the middle as we saw last time, or you can just leave it like that. So it's your choice. I'm just trying to join it here, and you can do as you want. So then I just try to create the double line. I don't usually recommend to do the double lines in the face. So the face we can do is we can just darken it a little bit, because that's how it's originally done. If you look at the works of some old artists, some veterans in this field, you will observe that that's how it was originally done. So we will try to stick to the authenticity and the original artworks, and I try to also show you exactly how it was done in the past, and we try to stick to that and not make much changes, because we are already making a lot of changes with the technique, with the material, etc. So at least we can do is we can follow some authenticity using the techniques and the methods. So as I'm going to make today a painting of a beautiful Indian bride, I have to accessorize. So I'm going to heavily accessorize everywhere, trying to make the earrings and different types of accessories. So today the painting is going to be a lot of intricate patterns where you learn to make different types of jewelries. Like right now, if you see, I'm trying to create a beautiful earring, a jhumka, what she's wearing, and trying to create beautiful designs. So there's going to be a lot of different patterns used today. So just trying to decorate it everywhere. Now I'm just trying to create the veil, the ghungat for the bride. So this is also going to be done with a lot of intricate designs. So working on my eye. So as we learned the last time, I'm using the same eye with eyelid and shading it with fine lines. So trying to do that for the eye. So the eye, as I said before, also has to be bright and bold and big in Madhubani style. And just trying to use here double lines, doing it a little different to highlight the eye even more. Now just using my brush to fill in the black color, because it is a little bit, it takes longer using the nib. So with brush it's quicker. Now I'm just trying to create the nose ring. So first of all, we will make a big nose ring, as it is supposed to be for the brides. Trying to do the double line here again, and now surrounding it with little semicircle circles or circular patterns all around, little tiny ones, so that it looks beautiful, and connecting it to the ears with tiny circles. So this is how we do the nose ring, or the nath that we call. Now extending the ghungat or the veil till the bottom also, on the other side also, just trying to give that look that she has a big veil, just like the big scarves that the Indian brides have, the big dupatta. So that's how we do it. Now trying to accessorize again, switching to the earring. Now if you have noticed, I keep switching everywhere because I let my paint to dry every time. So Yeah, it can be a little difficult to learn, but that's how I do it. I'm sorry for that. You have to bear with that because I always need to let my paint dry on one side. Otherwise, I am just scared to smudge it. So what you can do is always let it dry and then try to work on the painting further if you're using the acrylic paint to sketch. So now again switching to the other side. So you may have also noticed what I'm doing here is I'm just sticking to some designs used for the accessories so that it looks, in harmony. It's not that using too many different patterns also doesn't look good. So what I'm sticking to one pattern, trying to make the same patterns everywhere so that there is some harmony in the painting. Now this is a very important part. I have just used a little peacock design for the nose ring, for the nut, so to make it even beautiful. So just trying to create some peacock design for her nut for the nose ring that we have, the beautiful big one. So just try to make it simple, not that intricate, but once you fill in colors it's going to look really beautiful. Now after that I'm just working on the scarf or the veil that she has and trying to create those semicircular patterns on the border. So just try to make a border. So this is how we are going to do the border, and we will use the same exactly for the top because the veil goes on her head also. So just note the designs. Now for inside the veil that I created, I'm going to use those floral patterns where we create spirals and then all around we create those tiny petals. So I'm going to repeat it every time and cover the entire veil inside with these patterns, also on the top. So now if you note, I have also created one extra border design on the outside of the veil that we have. So that's a very simple zigzag lines. So you have to make the same on the top. So very simple zigzag lines, and inside I have created some geometric pattern, very simple. So the same border you have to also create on the top. So now as you see, mostly I have covered the veil with those tiny flowers and it looks really intricate and beautiful. Now working on the pendant that she has in her necklace, the same that I used also at the other places. If you saw the earring and also on the forehead, all the designs mostly keeping it similar. Now working on her blouse that she is wearing, just these tiny circles in a triangle. So using that to cover it entirely. So just trying to put it in a straight line if possible. You can also do it randomly. Once you fill in colors, it looks beautiful. So just these very tiny circles in triangle. So this is exactly how a sketch should look like after it's done. Now is the time to fill in colors. I start with black to first finish with the black paint and the hair, of course. So we just fill wherever we created the hair with the black and we leave those tiny circles. And once we fill in the black, as we saw also the last time in the last session, so these tiny circles looks like pearls in the hair and it enhances the beauty, and our bride is going to look really beautiful once we do this part. So we try to finish the hair, and after the hair I'm going to use yellow color for the blouse, as you see here. So just trying to fill it completely with the yellow, just leaving those tiny patterns, those tiny circular patterns in a triangle. We will leave those white and try to fill the entire blouse with yellow. So basically today's colors are pink, yellow, olive, which is mostly used in this painting, and royal blue as a background. So I'm just giving you an option, an idea of the colors. You can definitely have your own color combinations. So for colors, you don't have to stick to whatever I use. You can use your own colors. And this is how we try to do it, and try to just be very careful using the brush when you are trying to fill in colors, because there are intricate patterns and we don't want to disturb them. We don't want to cover them with the colors. But if it's, little bit is covered, it's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. It has to look raw. It has to look like a folk art. So don't be worried about that. It comes with practice. The accuracy comes with practice. But if a little bit smudging happened, that's fine. So this is how it looks like, the veil with pink. It looks beautiful. And remember, those patterns that we created inside, we have to leave it white. Now I'm switching to the olive. So basically these are my 3 most important colors, which I'm also going to use for the accessories. So I'm going to play with these 3 colors every time. And for mostly these big floral patterns that I created, I also use pink. And these white tiny designs that's between, it really highlights once you fill in colors. So this is how it's gonna look like. So mostly trying to cover it with pink. I'm also using the 3 combination, yellow, olive and pink in the border. So once you see my border, when I show you how to do it, I'm using these 3 colors. So just trying to accessorize her, trying to make it beautiful, the accessories that we created. And the colors really add the charm to the painting. So once you fill in the color, it really makes it more beautiful. So these 3 colors, just trying to play with it, trying to place it differently, the combinations, trying it. So this is how we do it. So as I said before also, this is just to give you an idea, the colors. Now I just use those fine lines in the beak of the peacock, that's just the bottom. And now again switching to the colors. So one more color we need to add later is a skin color. Now just using, as I said, for the borders also, the 3 color combinations. This is how I did it. Every alternate with pink and yellow. And then in the corners, the squares created in the corners which we left blank with olive. So this is how I did it for my painting. In the end, I'm going to put the complete picture to show you exactly how it looks like. Now, as I was talking about the skin color, so I'm using the skin color for the face. For skin color, what I can give you a tip is that use a little white and mix a little brown and yellow, and you can absolutely get the perfect skin color. For skin color, you have to make sure that the consistency is a little thin. You don't want to look, make your skin look a little fake. So it's a thin consistency really helps. So we'll fill the whole face with the skin color and the background with royal blue. And of course, for royal blue, you have to use a double coat. So exactly, I'll show you how it looks like after it is completely filled with colors. So this is how it looks like after my painting is completely done. So as I always say, for colors, you can have your own choice, but you can follow the same and try to make this painting. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please do like this video and let me know in the comment section below what you think about this video, and see you very soon. Stay tuned for much more.